Welcome to this Marval installation demo on how to install and configure the Teams Chatbot. So in this video we're going to start with the integration platform, and if you click on dashboard or log in there, you'll be able to see your dashboard. I have the core settings configured. The MSM connection status is healthy, and if I scroll down I can click on add remove integrations and I can add the Teams Chatbot integration. When I click on add here, it will download automatically the latest plugin or integration version. And then if I click on copy plugin key and then I navigate to Marval, I can choose the file. To get to the plugin page, you go to maintenance system and then you navigate to plugins under there. I'm going to choose the file now. This is the file that was downloaded. And then click apply. And that will install the integration. So once that is installed, we can untick the disabled button and then click apply. Now once you click apply, it may take a few seconds, but then this screen will appear, so you can go to the integration platform, copy the key, and then paste that into here for activation. Once the Teams integration is activated, it will first ask you to select a region, and you'll have two options here. You have Australia and UK. For Australia region, that would cover Asia and Australia. For the UK region, that covers Europe, North America, Africa, Middle East, and South America. So I'm in Australia here, so I'm going to select the Australia region. So that has come up, and now I need to activate the Teams integration. The first thing I'll do is add a customer name. So I'm just going to call this Marval Acme Inc. And I need to put in my Azure tenant ID. So what I'm going to do is log into Azure, and I'll show you where to get this tenant ID. So in the Azure portal, I can type in tenant, go to tenant properties, and then find my tenant ID here. I can just copy that to clipboard, minimize this, and then paste that in here. And then we can click on Activate Teams Integration. And then it says your account was created successfully. And we have now got some other details in here. We've got a secret key, a customer identifier for us. And it says here that we can now use the virtual agent. I'll just go through all of this information from top to bottom. So you have the option to download a private and public key. These are useful for the self-service chatbot components. If you want more information on that, on our YouTube channel, you can see that as one of the demonstration videos. You can download the self-service code snippet, which is what you place under maintenance, service, and self-service customization. Then under AI Chatbot, what we'll do is we will go through that process now because it's fairly straightforward. So we click on download private key, download public key, and download self-service code snippet. So when we enable this, we'll set the issuer just to localhost. We want to make this a secure chat, and I'm going to get the public key, paste the text into here, and do the same with the private key. Now I'm going to get the chatbot snippet, and then paste that into here. Once that's done and saved, you'll see the information here, and now you will see a chatbot appear on your self-service page for Marval. If you want to restrict who sees that, you can change the index page, and you can have different index pages under different parts of the structure if you like. So we have the chatbot settings page here. You can open the settings, which gives you a link directly to the settings page for the chatbot. And so this logs you in automatically with your tenant ID, which is used to log in. Or you can simply generate a new password and choose to log in manually. You can load the documentation for the chatbot here, which brings you to chatbot.marval.cloud. And here are the other details. So what I'll do is I'll go through this setting here, the aadObject GUID location and the application client ID. When you use Marval from a request screen, if we go to an incident, so I have a ticket here, and if I navigate to the Teams integration to use the chatbot, I need to be able to chat to the contact for this ticket. So in order to know who that is on the domain, I need the aadObject ID. So we have three ways to get the aadObject ID. One of those ways is to get it from Microsoft using a client ID. And so in this situation, we would navigate here, we would type in app registration, and we'll go to the app registrations and create an app registration and then enter the client ID. The other consideration is with the app registration, you're required to put in the redirect URL as part of that. The other way we can do that is in Marval. The way this works is that if you have configured Marval to use Entra ID for your synchronization, so if we navigate to maintenance, organizational unit, and then we load the directory services. So in here, if we selected the Microsoft Entra ID, if you use these settings, then you're able to take advantage of that setting in the plugin. And that will be in Marval. So in this way, what we would do is for that contact, we would automatically retrieve the aadObject ID. The third option is in an attribute. And by default, the attribute name is aadObject ID with this capitalization. Otherwise, you can specify an attribute name. Now, this attribute needs to be an organizational unit attribute. So if we go to the organizational structure, and when we load a user here, so let's load the system administrator, at the end there will be an attributes tab which will appear if you've added an attribute for the organizational unit item. So if we go to maintenance and configuration item, then we click on attributes. So in here, if we add in person, aadObject ID, and we have text box string, click apply. Then we go back to the organizational unit page and we click on the user, and then we'll have a new tab that says attributes. So this is where you can programmatically enter the aadObject IDs of your users from Azure. And then we'll use that corresponding aadObject ID to find the person in your tenant. And again, this is only required when using the feature of the chatbot from the tickets in Marval. So when using this feature here, to start a chat from within Marval in the ticket. And this is not required for self-service or the Teams to Teams chat. So we're back in the plugins page, and what we're going to do is open the settings for the chatbot. And I'm going to go through all of the settings that you can configure, as well as having a look at the the designer for the chatbot, for the self-service. So that brings us to the chatbot settings page. Now, some of these things haven't been entered and some have default values. What I'm going to do is get a Marval API key to put in here because we don't have any template selections here. So what I'll do is go into here. I'm going to go to the profile of the system administrator. Then I can click on the API keys. And I'm going to say Teams Chatbot. Copy this here. And then we'll place this in here. So once we have the API key typed in, we have the correct host information, we will get the option to define the incident and service request creation defaults. So we can select the an incident here, and then the incident workflow standard, and then for the workflow status, we'll select new, and then we're going to select service request here, and then service request workflow new. So these are for your teams when your service desk agents select to create an incident or a service request. These are the options that they'll get, and these are the IDs that we're going to use in the back end based on this information here. We can also select the allowed services for requests when a user from self-service goes to create a request. So we can select these. These are only unfiltered ones. So you'll have to have it unfiltered to be able to select it. And if we select those, that then sets those settings there. There are other options here for the Teams user asking to chat and accepting the chat message when a Teams user accepts. So these are all Teams to Teams settings, and these are settings for the queue times in minutes and seconds. So that information is useful there. We have some templates as well, so you can use user first name here, and there's username as well. You can download the chatbot cache snippet, and this is actually the fourth method you can use to upload information into the integration platform from your Azure. And so this will upload aadObject ID information directly to the chatbot. So what you can do is you can click on this button here to generate an API key and save that. Then this API key can be used in conjunction with this PowerShell script to be able to upload those aadObject IDs and the usernames or UPNs into the chatbot system. And we will always check that first before checking the other settings. And so those other settings I've already been through, but I'll show you them now. So the other settings are these ones here. So if you use the script method, as I mentioned, you don't have to do any of this here because we will use that script from here to do that. And I'll show you that script now and how it works. So here's the script. Basically, it runs these commands here, and it gets all the aadObject IDs, and then it invokes a REST method against our the chatbot.marval.cloud to then put that information into our mapped users. And so as I mentioned, this allows you to bypass any of the methods that are in the plugin here. It just uploads that information directly so that when you're chatting with a user, it can easily find that, that ID from the user's UPN or username. So the last two things that I'll go through, one of them is the virtual agent designer. This is the virtual self-service agent designer. So this designer goes through, this is basically all of the configuration for determining how chat works. We have a couple of videos on our YouTube channel which go through how to use this, how the virtual agent designer works, how to add new cards to the virtual agent designer. I'll give you a quick rundown of how this information is used practically. The default that you'll get is this setup here. So you'll get the form lookup, the knowledge search and agent chat and the request creation out of the box. And I'll just show you what that looks like now. So the self-service chatbot or agent appears down here on the bottom right once you have the snippet that was mentioned earlier. And then you'll get all of these options here. So you can do things like report an issue, and it will ask you about the services you want to use. So we only have one service that we've selected in the chatbot settings. So this service here is the service that we have selected down the bottom here. Obviously these are different services. So this is our production environment. And so you can select the service and then keep filling out the information. You can search the knowledge base. You can find a self-service form, and you can search the Marval configuration help, and you can live chat with support. So live chat with support contacts support using the Teams agent, and I'll show you that in a second. But if we were to click the live chat with support, it will, if there's an agent available, it will use the available agent to connect with them. At the moment, there are no agents logged in, so that is not going to show you the other prompt there. So that was the virtual agent information for the virtual agent designer. And as I said, there is a few videos that show you how to create new conversation flows using the virtual agent designer, and they go through how to add new cards and how to configure them, how to get data from external services. There's an example to get the external weather and display that on a card. The last option is data export. So this allows you to, if you have any log entries, to export them. And this is really the Teams chat information, all the chats that have gone back and forth between agents. It allows you to collect telemetry data and do reporting on telemetry data on how the chatbot is being used. So the next thing I'll go through is how to install and use the agents. So if we go to chatbot.marval.cloud, we have here under installing, you've got the two chatbots. So depending on whether you've installed the UK, Europe, and the other regions chatbot or the Asia Pacific, will depend on which ones you use here. Now, the chatbot UK Europe service desk, this is what your users or customers will use to contact the service desk. And so this is the Teams agent that you might install on if you have 40,000 users, you might install that on the 40,000 user Teams clients for them to contact the service desk or to contact the support queue, essentially. And this one here is used for your service desk agents as a support queue. And so they'll log into this one here, and then they can start chatting with support agents. So these two here correspond to these two here as well, but depending on the region, will depend on where it connects to. And I'll show you what these two look like now. So when you install the app, you'll get this here, or you might have it on the right hand side under a support queue. And these are just various messages that have gone through the support queue. I've been logged out today, so what I'm going to do is log in and then show you what that looks like. So this will log me into the queue, and then what I can do is type in #queue and then see that there will be no one in the queue. There are other prompts that you can use. You can use endchat, queue all to see extended information and actions. You can use notes to add a record of of this conversation to a ticket or a tracked request. You can use #request to raise a request and link the current chat, and you can do #track and then the request number to track a request against your current conversation with someone. So what I'll do, now that I'm logged in, I'm going to go to self-service and then start a chat with myself from self-service to show you what that looks like. So I have self-service up here. I'm going to say live chat with support from self-service, and then it will say connecting you now. I'll then get a message. All agents will get this message, and then I can say accept or decline. If I say accept there, it's now going to put me in conversation with this user. It will tell me that I can say end chat to end the chat session, and then in the other window, it will say a service desk agent has accepted. I can say, hey there, I have an issue with my computer screen. Then this will come up here, and I'm going to say, hey, no problems. I will raise a request for you. And then I can type in hash request. Now it will ask me whether I want to raise an incident or a service request. At this time, these are the two options that are available. And I'm going to search for myself as a contact for now. And then the service and a description. And I'll click on create request. So it says request created successfully. I can click there to view the request. And the user will get a prompt to say that the agent has created the request. So what I'm going to do is say, I've created the request, and then we will look into it shortly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the notes to the request. You can have this happen automatically when you end the chat. If it is automatic when you end the chat and you've added notes already, the old notes won't get added, only new ones. So I'm going to say, great, thanks. And then I'm going to end the chat. So that will terminate my chat with the user. They'll get a notification. And then it will tell me some more information here. I can do queue list. I can do queue, sorry, and then see the queue. And then no users in the queue. And then it says the service desk agent has closed the session. So what we'll do is we'll go to this request and we'll have a look at the notes there. So you can see here that the integration has got notes there, and this is the last one. We have auto notes added, and so now it said great thanks. Because I'm the same person, I'm talking to myself essentially, so this would normally have the different users underneath them, but it's just me here because I'm talking to myself. So that's why it just says David Hancock. Now I'm logged into the queue here. What I'm going to do is go to this is the support queue. So this is essentially the service desk queue. I'm going to go to the service desk view. So this is what I would see as a user. And what I'm going to say is, hey there. And now it's going to ask me if I want to be added to the queue to chat to service desk agents. Yes, I do. And then it's going to contact me. Because I have both of these chat agents inside of here, it will be me talking to myself again. If there was another person here, they would be viewing this. Now, I don't have to accept this. I can just do queue, and this is the same as self-service, and then I can view who's in the queue. And then I can choose a user. So if there was multiple users here, you can choose them as well. It tells you how long they've been waiting for. And if I do queue all, then it will give me extended information. And so you can see some information there. Because I'm talking to myself, it gives this slightly extended view, and I can log out or chat with either of these. So I can log myself out, or I can chat with the agent. I'm going to chat from here, and then I'll be talking to myself in the other window as well. So I'm in the support queue here. I'm a support agent, and I can say, hi there, what seems to be the issue? And then I'll get that chat here. So that's a basic rundown of how everything works. I'm going to end chat here, and I'm going to log out as well to end this. And so it will say that they've closed the session there, and I've logged out of the queue. So that's a rundown of how the Teams to Teams chat works. Normally there'll be two different teams with two different people, but that gives you an idea of how that kind of works. So that goes through the Teams to Teams and the self-service to Teams. The in Marval chat, if we go to an incident, the in Marval chat works very similar. So when you click Teams and you click Start a Chat, you'll get a box down the bottom right, and then you'll be chatting with the user from here to Teams. And so that's how that will work. So that gives you a rundown of the functionality, how to install Teams and how to configure that. One of the things I'll mention is that when you are installing the agent, if you don't want your users to have to manually install the Teams agent into Microsoft Teams, there are options in the Teams Admin Center on installing that automatically for your users. And so that is an option. The Service Desk agent, if you've only got 10 Service Desk agents, you can go into Teams and install that manually. The way you install the Teams agent manually, I'll just go through that quickly with you. The first thing to do is to navigate to chatbot.marval.cloud, and then you will click on the corresponding support queue, which will be Service Desk, essentially the Service Desk support queue box. So let's click on that to download the Europe UK one. Actually, we'll click on the Australia one to download the Australia one, Asia Pacific. And then we have that there, support queue AU. Then what I'll do is I will go into Teams. Now in Teams, you can navigate to apps on the left-hand side. Just move this across a bit. And then you click on Manage Your Apps on the bottom left, then Upload an App, and then you say Upload a customized app. And then you select the support queue zip file. And this just contains a few free plain text files and a manifest that defines this application for you. Then once you do that, you will be able to find it under apps here. When you start chatting, it will appear as it does here at the top of your chat queue normally when you start chatting. So that goes through all of the functionality for the Teams chatbot, how to install and configure your Teams chatbot, and how to use that for your teams. Be sure to have a look on the Marval Global YouTube page for other information about the chatbot and some more deep dives into how the three chatbots function. That's the self-service agent chatbot, the MSM one, and the Teams to Teams chatbot. We also have information on there, as I mentioned, how to create new cards and conversations for your self-service agent chatbot. We have one that integrates to an external source, and we also have one that allows you to create a custom conversation flow. Thanks for making it through to the end of this presentation, and we hope you find this Teams integration useful for your organization.